This week, I've been approached by a couple of different people who are both looking to start a business, and so I thought I'd talk to you about what you need to do to get started when you're setting up a business. There are a few things that you will probably have done already, for example, decided what you're going to do as your trade and maybe even picked a name for the business. But maybe you haven't thought too much about the structure, and that's a really important one, because a business can either be in your name as a sole trader or as a partnership, or it can be set up through a company, which is a separate entity to yourself. A company is something that you can own, but if a company does business, it does business in its own name. Companies are the ones that say limited after the name. There's a whole lot of different reasons you might choose sole trader or limited company, and I'll run through those in a separate article, because for today what I'd like to talk to you about is a little bit more of the mechanics about setting up. So once you've decided whether you would like to have a sole trader business or whether you're going to set up a limited company, the next thing to do is think, what are the rules that I need to have in place to trade? How am I going to run my business? This is particularly important if you're setting up with someone else, for example, in a partnership, or where there are two people who are going to be running the business. Because I think it's one of those truths in life that partnerships will disagree and partnerships will end at some point. And so I always recommend to clients before they start that they plan for when things go well, but they also plan for when things are not going so well. When there's two of you and you disagree, what are you going to do about it? Now, depending on the money involved and how far along your business idea is, you might consider getting a lawyer to draw up a partnership agreement. This will state in writing what you will do when you agree and what you will do when you disagree. I can't say strongly enough, this is absolutely worth having, absolutely worth having. Once you've decided on these things and you know how you're going to run your business and what each person is going to do in the running of the business, the next thing to do is to set it up and to register it. With a company, you register with Companies House. With a sole trade business or a partnership where you're trading in your own name, you simply have to tell HMRC that you're going to be trading. For our clients and people who approach us, we often say, please let us help you with this registration process, because getting a bit of help with the registration can help you to avoid some of the mistakes on the registration forms that can delay the process. And often when you're ready to start a business, the last thing you want is to not be able to start because of a box you filled in wrong on a form for the government. This process of registration is reasonably quick, but the part that can take longer and that you ought to leave some time for is setting up your first bank account. We found in the recent years that setting up a bank account is much more time consuming than it used to be, as the banks want to do additional checks that maybe they didn't do in the past. So please allow time to set up a bank account. But also, please ensure you do set up a bank account. It can be really tempting, especially as a sole trade business, to just buy things and start selling and receiving money into your personal bank account, the one that you use for your home expenses. This is all well and good and it's your money and you're entitled to do this, but by separating the money for yourself and for your business, you're making it so much easier in the future to look back and see how much you've made and how much you've spent, because it will all be in one bank account and there won't be any of your personal expenses in there too. Quite often when we're looking through people's books at the end of the year, we have to go through and ask them, what's this for? What's this for? Is this business? Is this business? And we'd rather not have to, and sometimes it looks as if the clients would rather we didn't have to as well. It just keeps things so much more straightforward if you're able to keep your business separate, not just from an accounting perspective, but I think from a good life as well, to be able to live your life at home and then have your business which is completely separate. I think it's really good kind of mental discipline, certainly something that I practice with my company. So you get your bank account open, you do all of your trading through that company account. You must also, alongside this, register for other taxes. Now, the time that you need to register will depend on the business you're setting up. For example, we have been approached this week by one business that is setting up and will not have any employees. So they do not need to register for payroll taxes. There's no need to register for PAYE, pay as you earn, unless you are going to be employing people. However, there's another business and they're going to be taking over the trade of an existing company. This business asked me the question, do I have to register for VAT? Now, VAT, normally, you do not have to pay until your turnover has passed £85,000 in a 12-month period. There are a few other times you have to register as well. So if you're unsure, please speak to an accountant. But because this company was taking over the trade of an existing business, they're going to have to register for VAT straight away. So just check in when you start. Are there any taxes that I need to register for? And again, like registering the company, I would suggest going to an accountant if you're unfamiliar with the forms or at all uncertain, because getting a detail wrong at the beginning with a tax registration can cost you hours on the phone to HMRC to try and fix it. It is best avoided if you can. So it's actually quite straightforward. Those are the things that I would suggest that you need to do when you're starting a business. But the one that I would absolutely urge you to do is think, what happens when this goes wrong? Whether you're a partnership or a sole trader, is deciding, at what point do I have to acknowledge that this isn't going the way I want it to? Or at what point do I acknowledge it's going really well and decide that I can start releasing some of the money from the company and enjoying some of the benefits? Now, these are the questions that maybe an accountant would be well placed to help you with, because these clients come to me. In fact, the two clients that came to me this week and said, do I need an accountant for my company? One of them I've said yes to, because they will benefit from the experience of an accountant to help them answer these questions. But the other client, it's actually one of their children who's starting a business. And I've said to them, well, your child is intelligent and will very likely manage to fill in the HMRC forms on their own. And I would question whether an accountant is going to bring great value to them in comparison to the fees that we would have to charge to do the accounts. Now, they maybe will have 20, 30 transactions in a year. And paying an accountant to add up 20 transactions for you, to me, seems a little bit of a strange choice. It's not just about adding up your taxes, of course. Accountants are very good at offering experience because we see many different businesses and have experience of things that have gone well and things that have gone wrong. This is the reason, the main reason why to the first client, I said, yeah, you need an accountant and I'd love to help you with it, because we can help you with this business that's going to grow fast and it's going to go places, to avoid some of the pitfalls that we've seen others fall into. I think this is the main thing an accountant can do to help you. It's not simply about the taxes and the numbers. It's about what you do with the numbers and how you use them to help you make more profit. If you're looking to start a business, good luck to you. I've certainly enjoyed it with growing mine. There's good days and there's bad days, but it's absolutely been a journey that I'm happy to have been on. And if you'd like help with setting up your company, or just running through any questions that you have about the taxes you might need to register for, please do get in touch and we'd be very happy to help out.